Okay, so I've been starting a new series, and it basically is um, just my interpretation of where the price action is going to go in the next week. So in the following week, sorry. So because this is the very first one, in this I'll just do a few of videos that I'm gonna keep a track on. So I'm thinking of just doing Euro USD, um, Pound USD, AUD USD, and we'll do one other one, and we'll do we'll also do USD JPY as well. But it may fluctuate between the weeks. So what I'm gonna do just for now though is take you through Euro USD. So I'm just gonna show you like how in this video how I'm gonna analyze everything. So like I said, I've done a video before which was just explaining how to do top-down analysis, and we're just gonna do that again, but a bit more detailed. And yeah, so hopefully it'll be good for you to understand everything. Okay, so the first thing that I would do is just to draw some trend lines, etc. So I'm just gonna fill that here. So something like this. So what a good tip to do, which I think is have some colors written down on a piece of paper and stick to it. So for example, what I do is use all my trend lines as use my trend lines in a pink color, pink purpley color, and then what I do is all my key zone areas and zones, I just do it in black, and then you'll see as I do it, but I change the color of the color on each frame. So so now I've just drawn that general trend line. I'm just gonna put some key zone levels. So what I do is on a month one, I just do it black, pitch black, and I just really keep all of the zone levels just really close to the price action as current as it is. There's no point doing any of these here, any of these zone levels above or below, because it's just unlikely that a scenario like that would happen. Um, so one key thing is just to keep your charts very simple, very clean, and it'll help you ultimately in your trading. Okay, so we're on the weekly. Let's see. So we can see some other key areas here. I think the monthly might just do it actually, to be fair. Um, could get one in about here. So just change color. So I change the color of it to on the week just a bit grey. So we could say something like this, perhaps, and yeah, so something like that. And then we could grab another line maybe here. Okay, so take it down to the day time frame. And what we're doing is we're just putting in the zones in and any current trend lines, etc. So this is basically what it is now. It gets a bit more interesting now. So we can see that price action had taken an uptrend for a while now. So since Jan 2017 all the way to April 18. So a good year there in a full bullish momentum. Now we're taking in a bearish momentum. So what that means is price action is cutting down now. So we're going into the downtrend. So if we look at it like this, we can see a top downtrend, something like that. Yeah, so there so some key significant points here would be this would be a very good confluence for a very easy trade, just because it's a key support level, a key trend level. Like for example, if that wasn't here, just looking at these points here, my trend line would be something like that. So I would have put a stop loss something like this if it was at the time being. So if price action may show some confluence there, perhaps something like that. So towards the next key zone area, which would be like here, and something above that. So with the stop loss, I would place it above this line, because if price action shot across this line, which is our monthly zone, it proves that I was wrong. So momentum is wrong. Momentum was wrong. So you got to always put your stop losses in areas where you know that if it goes into this stop loss zone and it cancels out, your interpretation of that trade is wrong. So, for example, my stop loss caps possibly here. It would be above. Technically, it would be above this zone, and it would be above a previous price action high. Because if this was wrong, price would go above previous high, which would signal a bullish trend, like a reversal. But as we could see, that it didn't, so it would have been correct. So yeah, so this trend line we can just you can just put right here, and now we can also put make a little zone for our daily, so something like that, and we should change the color as well. So changing colors just helps it be a bit more obvious, but it's totally up to you and your preference, really. So checking the confluences, we can use this one here as well. So what we're doing now is we're covering all the places where it could potentially so two scenarios. Obviously there's only two scenarios in every trading, is either price action goes up or price action goes down, and we want to, because we're not exactly sure where price action is going as of now, we just want to cover both areas with our zones where price could end up or touch off of and rebound, and all the support areas, and that's what it is. So we're just filtering out as we go past previous price action for more confluence. When we find more confluences in the zone, so for example, where price action bumps and touches off it in a sensitive way, that is a confluence. So that is a significant area or a level, and you would mark that. So I'm just doing this as we can see. So just something like this. So we've got sensitivity. We got rejection here, but then it burst through. We have a sensitivity here. So this is more than 3 times. That's like the golden rule in all kind of trading aspects. So yeah, so that would be good. Okay, so we have a little, and we can also do a little downwards one in case momentum goes any other way. So we've got like a little channel forming, and then this channel that we've formed just gives us an estimation of where the confluences could occur. So for example, here would be a confluence because we have our monthly zone, we have our weekly zone, sorry, and our trend line. So we could argue that price would be more likely to bounce up a little bit, and it did in this case. It went to the top of the boundary of this other upper trend line, sorry. And at the end of the day, this is what I always would recommend, is just trading is not always 100% you're not always going to be right with trading. It's all about possibility and which way is it more likely to go. So is it more likely that price action goes up or down, and then you have to, in your best interest, with all the with all your analysis and all your data that you have to predict in a sense where price is more likely to go. So in this scenario, you could put a price action in a more finer detail and just look at in this area here on this line that it would be sensitive. So you have an entry form and have a trigger point and look for some sort of buying opportunity, and vice versa for here. So this would be a selling opportunity, sell, buy. So if we take it down to one more time frame, 4-hour chart, and we could, so like a simple sort of a strategy that you could look for an entry is just ending. So when price action comes to a confluence, you could look for price action. So what I mean by that is any patterns. So candle patterns, each of these like candles, so candles and wicks, etc., they all have like a little pattern. So the most common one that many people trade off is the engulfing candle, and what that is when price action swallows the previous price action. So a good example would be something like this one right here. These two here. Can you tell that this green one completely covers the price action in the red one? So what this actually signifies is that prices in this 4-hour candle has now been overtaken. So it's now overtaken on a new high. So whenever price action breaks and starts a new high from a previous low, that signifies like a key moment of possibility of uptrend. And this, going back onto the more like the possibility and the more likelihood of price action, because we're at the confluence zone, so we have our weekly zone here and our trend line as well. This would make sense that we're looking at some sort of signal for us to indicate that this downtrend is now finished. Now we're looking at a bull run. So so this pattern here is the engulfing candle. So this is called the bullish engulfing candle, and this is something that can be used as a trigger point. So you would enter your trade, and so something like stop loss, etc. So you would enter the trade here, and you would possibly put your so you know that this trade would be wrong if it would go against. So I probably would put it here, a previous zone. So because a lower zone, sorry. So at a lower time frame zone, I would know that if price action continued to come down here for whatever reason, and if it hit and went surpassed this zone here, I know that this is wrong, and we're looking now at a further downward trend. But in this case, it was correct. So this obviously continued to go up. And one other tip that I like to look at. So say that we got into this trade here, and we start to so we notice that the price goes up, and then we see a bit of a dip. So the price action here, we would obviously you look at it in a way, but like you would take your price, you would take your stop losses and you would change it to something like that. So as soon as it's out in good reach above, so what, something like 30 pips up, I personally like to reduce my stop loss and turn it straight back into a no risk trade. So even if the price action does come down, it wouldn't bother me as much, and that's what trading I think should be, just a bit more subjective and less risk, less anxiety involved in it. So then another method that I do as well is that if I'm currently running on a trend upwards, or and it's running upwards in my favor, I move my stop losses even higher. So then I'm literally locking in profit. So something like this would put my stop loss something like that, and then let it run, let it run, let it run. And we see a dip here, let it run, and then move my stop loss up to here, and then keep letting it run. And I probably would put the stop loss here, boom, and then because we're at another confluence zone, I would look to let that be my take profit zone. But equally, we would have locked in that trade just 131 pips, just and that's locked in as we're letting price go up. So it makes trading just a little bit easier when you catch these trends, and it lets you feel less less anxiety is more involved, less involved in it. So that was just a little tip about the trading in itself and running on with profits, etc. Okay, so let's just talk about where we are now and the possibilities of where we could be. So I'll just fill in one more of these 4-hour candles. So looking at all possibilities that if price action was to go higher, these are the areas that I'm looking at really, and here. Okay, so looking at how it is now, so let's just put our week in. So this is the week here. Previous week was here. So I'm just putting in the week. Yeah. So this from this point onwards, this area here, this is all this week's price action. So we can see that price went up something like this, and something like that. So we've got like a little pattern forming. So this is like a consolidation pattern forming. So it's just like it's a pendant form, and price action technically dips off this, and this, and this, and then breaks. So in my opinion, we are looking for downwards momentum this week. So we're currently past this level on the 1.121, and we're now looking to aim for 1.119 because we've suppressed this our little pattern that's formed. So the scenario that possibly could happen is price action would come down here, come back for a retest, and then further retest this zone, looking for a retest of this zone here, If we could get a retest up here, then we would be looking down. So I'll take it down to one hour chart. Yeah, so we can see that we had a little retest already here. So I would assume with this that we would be looking for a short, so something along the lines of like this for this week. This is simple trade. So just a nice 1.84 risk to reward ratio. So as I was saying before, like I would be looking for price action to retest this little zone here on the weekly, on the daily, sorry, and we had that. So look what happened. So price suppressed that. So I'll zoom in, sorry. So price came down, broke through this lower boundary trend line, and came down, and then we look for the retest here. So we have this sensitivity here. We have the star forming. So this is another pattern that is right here, and we also have a bullish engulfing as well. So which is even more bearish engulfing, sorry, which is even more likely that this is we're now in a higher selling opportunity. So this would be where I would possibly look for entry, and would look for targets to take profit zone to be here, 1 and 2, TP2 to be there. So in total that would be here. So for TP1 18 pips, TP2 32, so roughly about 50 pips together collectively in that 2 trade. Yeah, and we would be risking 18 pips for this, for TP1 and TP2. So and TP1 would be 18 for 18, so just about 1 over, yeah. So yeah, so that would be my prediction for this following week coming over. So yeah, so what I'll be doing is I'll be doing a bit more of this. So now that I've done the whole overview of how I did this, I'll just the videos will be a bit more shorter now, just to update where things have been and where it's gone in the previous week, and then we can keep a track on how well we've been doing. And yeah, so I'm going to be looking for entries this week for a short, and ultimately for this target here to happen. And what I'll do is next week on the Saturday is to review this, and then we can go from there. I will also do another pair on this, so in the next video that I'll do, it more likely will be another pair. So in the future videos, the next week, the videos won't be as long, because I won't have to redraw all the zones and the trend lines, etc. It will just be looking at what's happening in the following week, right? But yeah, hopefully that was interesting, and you learnt a little bit from that. Just in general, if you're a beginner or just would like some advice on where I would personally say the trade will be going this week. So yeah, so thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.